everybody, I hope you are all well. So you okay, still there? I haven't filmed a sit down video in the longest time, so I'm a little bit nervous or anything. I'm feeling a bit out of sync. But anyway, I have been meaning to film this video for the longest time. I wanted to film my newborn essentials. So obviously Ellen is now 5 months. She's 5 months. She's not even near 6 months. She's definitely 5 months. So I feel like she's definitely well and truly out of the newborn stage. I feel from about 3 months I feel from 6 weeks I probably would say they're not so newborn, but from 3 months they take like a big personality change, so they are no longer like a newborn and they start to like develop little personality traits and stuff, and you get to know them better. Like I feel like 3 months is like a real pivoting point for babies. So anyway, obviously in 2 years I have had 2 newborns, so I feel like I kind of know what I'm talking about when it comes to newborn essentials. In this video I want to talk about products that significantly made life easier, and I'm not talking about like nappies, travel system, car seats, all of the standard things that you need to have for a newborn. I am talking about like products that actually really help with life and just made it so much easier. These are products that I would say are essentials, obviously that's why it's the title, and these are products that I could vouch would work. So without further ado, let's get into it. So for me, a really big one is white noise. Rory used white noise up until quite recently. We have 3 white noise toys. You can see 2 in the background already. The third one is in there, but he's poking down. There we've got the Whisper, we've got My Hummy, and then we have got You in the Dream Sheep in there too. I use them all for very different reasons. So I use My Hummy. My Hummy was originally in Rory's room. It's just come into this room, which is why it's poked there, because he no longer needs it. So Whisper I used to use at night time for Ellen, but I'm going to swap her to the My Hummy because My Hummy goes on for much longer. Then Whisper I'm going to use for the pram, and the Ewan I'm going to use for the car seat. Now the reason I'm a little bit more obsessed with white noise with Ellen and have lots of different toys for lots of different places is because it really works for her. With Rory I used to just use it at night time and it would keep him down and keep him quiet. With Ellen, she has had white noise since day doc. Do you want to sit up, my girl? Because, hang on a second. Because when she used to have colic, white noise was a really big one for us. It would really help calm her down and settle her, and we didn't use toys at that time. We would just use our mouths. We'd be like shh right in her ear, which is a massive top tip, by the way. If you ever have like an inconsolable baby, just hang on, let me sit up a bit more. Just get right in their ear and really like shush at them. So then when she calmed down, I would then use the Whisper and tuck it into the sling. And so because she had all that, she uses white noise as a massive like sleep crux. So like even now if she stirred at night, we would like shush her back down to sleep. So anyway, that's why we have so many different white noise toys, because she just uses it all the time. And obviously having the 2 children, I just kind of don't want to be like running around trying to chase a toy. So she's got My Hummy for her bed, Whisper for the pushchair, which also helps with Rory because they both fall asleep in the pushchair, and then Ewan for the car seat because little tail clips on really nicely. And all of those 3 will just really help her to sleep. If you were going to pick one, I would probably recommend My Hummy, but I personally also really like Ewan because Ewan has a heartbeat noise which sounds like when you're pregnant and they do the heartbeat. So for me it makes me really emotional. I love it. But My Hummy I would say is the best one for the babies because it's got the most continuous noise. The other 2 cut out after a while, and then when they wake up they cut back in again, but they're already awake, so I don't feel like it works as well. But My Hummy goes on all the time. The next one, which is my absolute 100% essential, if you don't have one you need to have one, buy one. It is the best money you will ever spend, and that is a baby wrap, like the sling wraps that you carry the baby in. They are just the best thing ever. I bought my We Made Me Wooty wrap for £50 because it is the only one that I could get on next day delivery at the time. Now my town centre like sells them everywhere, which is really annoying. I paid £50 for it and it is the best money I've ever spent. If I had to write a blank cheque and just give it to somebody and they had to fill in the amount, I would pay whatever I had to pay for it. It is just the best money you will ever spend. It is so good, especially having 2 children that have really relied on baby wraps. It's just the best investment ever. I was paid £50. I don't really know what makes the We Made Me Wooty wrap any more special than others. I'm sure people do, and I'm sure there is a reason that it's £50, but you can get them for like £20 on Amazon. if I could go back, I would get it for £20 on Amazon because they're nicer as well. It's like a jersey material, the one on Amazon. Well, Swimo Me is, I don't think it's the prettiest thing, and I've got it in like the mushroom colour, so it's not like, it's not lovely, but I do love it. Like, and I still have it, and I don't use it anymore because Ellen's moved up to like a bigger carrier where she can like peep out of a little bit more. But I can't bring myself to get rid of my Wooty wrap, like, because I just feel like it saved my bacon so many times. Like when Rory was 3 weeks old, he wouldn't be put down, and I just felt like I was losing my sanity, and I just felt like I needed to be able to do something for myself, and I couldn't because I was like pinned to the sofa by him. So it was just such a lifesaver. And then again with Ellen, when she had colic, it just got us through those like massive witching hours. With Ellen alone, like just to get her out of the way of Rory is just such a lifesaver. And I used it with Rory, I think till he was like 6 months maybe, and like you can use, I could still use it now with Rory, like if I wanted to. And then like I say, Ellen, I could use it with Ellen, but because it's like a big long stretchy piece of material, I find it quite awkward to put on like if I was out. So for example, I could like push Ellen into town somewhere and she might get upset halfway through, so I'd put her in the carrier just to like settle her down. Whilst if I had the sling, I have to like loop it all around me and stuff, and it gets a little bit awkward, whilst with the carrier that she has now it's just 2 clips, so it's really easy. I would definitely recommend starting off with a sling though, because when you have like a tiny mini newborn, I find with carriers they tend to like wobble around a little bit too much and it's not quite as settling, whilst with the sling it like really holds them in nice and tight and snug to you, so it's really nice for them. My next recommendation is one that I really don't want to love and I don't want to recommend, but unfortunately it is as good as everybody thinks it is, and that is the Sleepyhead. I really didn't want this to work because they cost so much money and I just thought they were a massive gimmick. I didn't get Rory's, I didn't get the one we have until Rory was about 5 or 6 months maybe. Oh, was he older or younger? No, I think he was about 5 or 6 months, and initially when we got it I was like, doesn't work, it's rubbish, she's not asleep in it at all, he still wants to be held. And then it was my mum that really settled him down into it one day, and ever since then he just slept perfectly. He did have we did move him up to the deluxe when he was older than 8 months. They do say you can keep it till the 8 months, but he was like 9.5, maybe even 10 months before we moved him up, and he's still fitting it fine. Like obviously he's always been a big boy, but I found like the snugger it got, the better he slept, because he just, yeah. But we did get the deluxe one, and then by the time we got the deluxe one he wanted to like go on his front and stuff, and he would wake himself up by getting stuck, so we stopped using that and we don't have that anymore. But yeah, so we used a sleepyhead with Ellen in the first couple of weeks of having it. I loved it, and yeah, even now she's quite a clingy sleeper and it does work really well for her too. So again, it's something I really didn't want to like, but unfortunately it is as good as everybody thinks that it is. So my first recommendation, if you're bottle feeding your baby, I bottle fed Rory, so I've tried loads of different bottles, loads of different techniques to make formula and stuff, but the best bottles by far are the Dr. Brown's bottles for sorting out colic. I would recommend buying these even if you are pregnant and you don't have your baby yet, because they're just the best for sorting wind out and helping with trapped wind and things like that. So I'll tell you a little bit of a background. When I was pregnant with Rory, bought Avent. Rich did want to get Dr. Brown's, but because they have, hang on, I've got an example, because they have some extra parts in there, I didn't want to get them because I didn't want the extra washing up to do, so didn't end up buying them. And then we tried like Avent, Tommy Tippy, Newbie, Mam, and then we finally settled on Dr. Brown's, and they were just the best ones. Rory didn't have colic as in like screaming in the evening, Ellen did, but he was always really windy after a feed, and Dr. Brown's were the only bottles where they like just completely removed the wind and he was way more settled. I moved him onto Mam bottles like really randomly, and because I was just wanted to try like he had some problems like swallowing or something, I can't really remember, so I wanted to try different teat. Oh, he was taking in too much milk, that was it. So I wanted to try different teat to see if that was like a slower flow. And then after that feed with the Mam bottle, he was really, really windy and really gripey. So Dr. Brown's always worked the best for him. I wish I'd just bought them originally from the start. They are what I would use if I had to bottle feed Ellen. Yeah, I just think that they're brilliant. They're like worth their weight in gold. Even if your newborn doesn't have wind, or like even if you're pregnant and your baby doesn't have colic or anything like that, they're just the best ones for reducing the amount of winding you need to do, and newborns like do cling on to their wind quite a lot. The next bottle feeding essential that I recommend is the Perfect Prep machine. It is absolutely brilliant for making feeds. I would also really recommend, just to be frivolous, getting one for upstairs and for downstairs. When we first had Rory, we would take everything upstairs at night, so we would take all of our bottles, prep machine and the formula, and I would make bottles here. So in like, I wish I'd, so we bought one from new originally, then we ended up selling it because I read like a horror story about it, and then I bought a new one I bought one second hand like a couple of months later, after I got fed up of making bottles from scratch. So yeah, I wish I'd got two from the start really. The horror stories and stuff, like I was like traumatized by them because Rory, like I said, he used to get really bad wind and I was just convinced it was to the Perfect Prep machine, and then it wasn't. But as long as you buy one that's always used the Tommy Tippy filters, it's fine. It's when people start using like the dupe filters that you can buy from Wilkinson's that you will run into problems. So as long as you are using the filters, then they're fine. If I were you, I would get like a new one and like maybe a second-hand one for upstairs, or just get two second-hand ones. Yeah, I would definitely get them too, but they are just worth their weight in gold. They are so good if you bottle feed your baby. If Ellen ever decides that she doesn't want to be breastfed anymore, I would get another one for her as well, because I wouldn't want to make bottles. Like I had to make a bottle when Ellen was about 6 weeks old, and I was just like, what the hell do you do? Like I had no clue how to make it. So the Amazon driver just let himself into my house, but he brought my new spray mops. I'm very excited about that. So it took me a while to understand the need for a feeding pillow, but I do think they're really good for your first couple of weeks where you're still trying to get used to like positions and like getting comfortable whilst you feed and trying to relax. They're really good for that. And then once you're like, I would say from about 3 weeks, you don't use a feeding pillow because it ends up being more of a faff. So I then didn't really get the point of them and kind of would have told you not to bother. But now Ellen is like 5 months and she wants to sit up and stuff, they're brilliant again. Like I'm really glad that we have one. Obviously with Rory I used to just prop pillows up around him and stuff, but with Ellen it's just way easier to sit her like in the little circle bit of the feeding pillow, and then she is like really nicely secure, so it's really good for helping her with her confidence. Is Rory trying to wake up? No. So I just feel like it's really good. Do you want to feed him? So I just feel like it's really good for helping with her confidence, because she's obviously quite secure. She doesn't like roll about at all, because she's there like move your arm out the way, because she's pretty like stuck in and pretty snug. So she's pretty happy with that, and I just think that they're really good for that. My next breastfeeding recommendation is to use reusable breast pads. I started off with, I tried loads of different brands. So I tried Boots, Lansinoh, which were really good, Medela are really good for absorbency, and then Tesco as well, and they were good too. But I think Medela were the best for absorbency. But yeah, I just hated like the packaging involved with reusable breast pads. I know it's such like a first world problem, but like the packaging is just so fiddly, and it ends up like getting all over the place and stuff, because it's like that really like, not sticky, but you know, it's quite static. Oh, it used to drive me mad. So I heard about reusable breast pads. I'm quite into like, you know, doing my bit for the environment. Like I wouldn't say I'm like a real environmentalist, but any changes that I can make I do try to. So I heard about reusable breast pads, and I just love them. I think I spent £10 on them, and I bought them from Baba and Boo, so I'll link them down below. But obviously like a box of breast pads, like the Lansinoh ones, was £6, and I used, so before I bought reusable ones, I used about 4 boxes of different breast pads, and like I've had reusable ones for a few months now, so let's do some quick maths. So it was £5 a box. I would have been on like about 8 boxes by now, so about £40. So obviously my breast pads have already paid for themselves. They're really lovely, really soft, really comfortable, really absorbent. They wash really easily. Like I just chuck them in the washing machine. You probably should put them in like one of the little zippy bags, but I don't, I just chuck them in. And yeah, I just love them. I just find them so much handier and just a little bit more gentle as well. I find like with the papery ones, I can't say for sure, but what I could imagine is that they would also dry out your nipple a little bit when you're starting breastfeeding and you're trying to get used to things. My third breastfeeding essential is Lansinoh Lanolin. Only buy Lansinoh, don't even buy anybody else, any other brand. Lansinoh is the one where you can feed your baby straight away, like you put it straight on and then it's like feed proof. And it's just got the nicest consistency. I tried the Modelo one and I found that one a little bit too thick. It needed like warming up before you could apply it, and obviously as a new mum you don't have time for that, so I really liked the Lansinoh one. Also I know the Lansinoh one is quite expensive, which can be what like puts people off, but I only ever used one tube and I still have that tube now. Like, and I obviously don't use it anymore because she's 5 months old, but you just buy one tube. So I originally thought I'd be getting through like a tube a week and it would be really expensive, but no, it's not the case. So the next one isn't for everybody necessarily. Obviously there's different opinions and different thoughts on this, but I would really recommend getting dummies. I originally said with Rory that I wasn't really sure if I wanted him to have them. You know, like I was just quite on the fence. If he needed it then fine, if he didn't then great. But I had a pack anyway because it came free with a packet of bottles I bought, and I think it was like the second day we were in hospital, he wasn't even 24 hours old, I texted Rich and I was like, you need to bring the dummies, because he just wanted bottles and bottles of milk because he was looking for something to suckle on. So yeah, he has had a dummy. And then with Ellen, originally she didn't want to take a dummy at all and we stuck with it, and they're just lifesavers. Like going through all of her colicky phases, I couldn't have got through it without that dummy. Like it was just such a lifesaver. So obviously entirely up to you, but if you do want to, I would just say just get a pack and just have them in, stay open-minded, but you know, yeah, just have a pack in because it's the type of thing that you would end up wanting like in the middle of the night when your baby is crying. So it's just worth having it. Even if you don't think you're going to use them, you can just throw them out afterwards if you don't want them. But I would say my next essential is, if you are going to use dummies, then get a dummy clip. There is nothing more annoying than a baby, like, because obviously Rory at the moment can just hold his dummy in. Ellen, like if she smiled or something, she's going to lose her dummy and it's going to go on the floor, and there's only so many times that you can pick it up and sanitize it again. And also, like, if you are in, you've got a muslin blanket, let's get you this. If you are in a car as well, and they drop them and then you have to go like fishing around for it, and that's never practical. So if they're attached to a dummy clip, then you can just find it and put the dummy back in really easily. Next thing I would really recommend, and I hear so many people say like they're completely unnecessary, but it is a bath thermometer. I love our bath thermometer. We still use it every single bath with Rory, and he is 21 months old, I think, maybe 22, but he's nearly 2. We still use it every single time. Obviously now we have Ellen, we use it all the time. But yeah, I really recommend them. I find gauging the bath temperature really hard, not for boiling them, but for like making it too cold. Babies hate being too cold in the bath. Rory now doesn't want to be too cold in the bath, so I just find it really handy for that. Alice was about £5 from Tesco, and yeah, it's probably one of the best things we've ever bought. Next thing I would really recommend is a packet of water wipes. Even if it's just one pack that gets you through the hospital and the first week of life, I really recommend water wipes. I absolutely love them. They just feel like you're just, I don't know, when you have a new baby, they just feel way better to know that you're not using any harsh chemicals on them or anything that they're not used to. Obviously they're just still adjusting to life, so I just prefer to use water wipes. My top tip with water wipes as well to make them last longer is to tear them in half, because they're quite a big surface area for a wipe. So I'd always say to tear them in half, and then you get more for your money. But yeah, I absolutely love water wipes. I used them with Rory for I think about 6 months, and then with Ellen I used them for about 2 weeks, because obviously I'm doing 2 lots of nappy changes and I could just never be bothered to like use certain wipes for a certain baby, and I can't use water wipes on Rory anymore because his poo is like a full-on human poo, and they're perfect for like newborn poo but not for like toddler poo. So yeah, I do like, I probably would use them if it was just Ellen, like I would use them all the time again, but no, we don't use them as much as I would like to, but they are really good. And then my final newborn essential is to buy car seat adapters. This is something is to buy car seat adapters for your pushchair. This is something I really miss, and this is again something that I waited absolutely ages to buy. I think my dad ended up buying them for me because he took us to a trip to IKEA and he didn't have time, yeah, he didn't have space in his car for like all the stuff we were going to buy. And then my pushchair was like in 2 parts, so he bought us the car seat adapters, and yeah, they were just a lifesaver. Like, I really recommend them. You unsettle your baby, like you just save so much time unsettling your baby. I really miss them now. I don't have them with Ellen. I have considered buying the car seat adapters for our old Bugaboo, but the Bugaboo frame doesn't fit in my Mini anyway, or it does, but I would have to like put a seat down. So she's just got her own pushchair for the car, but it's still a faff, because I have to, like, if she's asleep in the car seat, I have to like move her or just take the car seat. And having 2 small children, like, and carrying a car seat and trying to hold Rory is always a pain, and as Ellen gets heavier, it's not getting any easier. In a perfect world, I would have bought the Doona. I absolutely wish so badly that I'd bought that Doona car seat, especially like if this is your first baby and you plan on having more. You've been sick everywhere. I would just say get the Doona, like, honestly, like, because if you're going to keep the car seat, then it's going to return the favour. I wish I'd picked one up so badly, but I would definitely recommend getting the car seat adapters. They are just a lifesaver for not disturbing your baby. So yeah, that is my newborn essentials. Obviously that is across both children, so 2 babies, 2 lots of newborn essentials. Most of them pretty much stay the same, obviously, apart from the bottle and breastfeeding ones, because they're both fed differently. But yes, that is my absolute ride or die newborn essentials, products that will just make your life so much easier. Yeah, highly recommend them all. I would absolutely love to hear though what your newborn essentials are. I don't know why, but even now I'm obsessed with newborn essentials. I watch like people's videos and like blog posts about it all the time. I just find it really interesting to see how different babies are and stuff. So let me know what was your #1 newborn essential that you couldn't live without, that made life so much easier. Please leave a comment and let me know. If you enjoyed this kind of newborn content, I do have like a few videos planned on newborns, because obviously, like I said, I've had 2 in 2 years, so I kind of know a few things about them. But I feel like because Ellen's now 5 months old, like, do you want me to move on with different content or still reflect on her newborn time? Give this video a thumbs up if you do want to see more newborn content, and please subscribe if you haven't already. We'd love to have you to stick around. But yes, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.